Hey, another walk it out, number 5. Today I want to talk about the mind and how come our mind has become, for most of us, something that is not of service to ourselves, but is sabotaging our attempts to be happy, our attempts to be authentic. How come this beautiful, powerful, intelligent mind of ours has become our enemy? I'm thinking about this because it's a very alive question for me. I had always had I have always had a very powerful, dense intellect. I have always been extremely quick to understand certain things. I need to sneeze. I've been always I've always been quick to analyze and to create links between concepts, and however, it doesn't mean that it's made me happier. And the more the mind gets refined, the more it can also see problems and possibilities that are negative. A very powerful mind can be used to confirm negative beliefs about yourself and to drag you down even more when you are struggling. So, what's the alternative? For me, for a while, I tried to just lessen the power of my mind by just being more and more present in my body, focusing on the present moment and not so much on planning for the future, dwelling on the past. For a few years, I was extremely dedicated to this practice of mindfulness. I stopped reading books. I really stopped nourishing my intellect. I kind of needed a break from it. And now I'm shifting into a time where I'm like, okay, now I want to choose how I nourish my intellect. It's not that I don't want it to be nourished, but I want to choose how I nourish it and how I use it intentionally instead of letting it rule my life for me. And it's really a journey. It's really an exploration. I cannot give you any conclusion for now. I'm just in the midst of it. I feel like now I'm using my mind more so to translate things that I'm feeling in the context of relationships. So I'm using my mind so that I can use language, so that I can translate how I'm feeling, and that's one way. And also, actually, it's not just in relationships. I would say in my creative life, I'm using my mind to translate the visions that I can have into something that is either visual or into words or music, to translate my inspiration into something understandable to the human perception, to the human plane, to this 3D plane, I guess. And that feels most aligned, especially in the moments when I just feel very connected to myself. But whenever I feel a bit disconnected from myself, the habitual sabotaging mind can come back quite quickly to back any negative belief that I'm spiraling into when I don't feel good. And of course, I still have access to some resources, like coming back to the body again and again, coming back to the breath, to the feelings, sensations, and trying to just stay with that simplicity instead of losing myself in thought and analysis, which is one way of trying to escape what's here and now. But sometimes what's here and now is not just pinks and roses. Sometimes it's really, really painful and it feels overwhelming and it feels like it's too much. And that's why we escape. And when I think, oh, my mind has become my enemy, I also think of work. I think of how my mind transforms anything I'm passionate about, anything I'm playing with, into work, and makes it serious and makes it important and makes it somehow something I have to achieve, something I have to do right, something that needs to be perfect, and it becomes a dictatorship against myself. It's incredible how the mind can shape things, and shaping things into something serious, I think for me, it's like a safety mechanism, because I was told my whole childhood, and even I could say my whole life, that we are rewarded for being serious, that being an adult is being serious, and we cannot be taken seriously and we cannot be appreciated and listened to unless we are serious, unless there is something that makes sense to the world, that makes sense to this society, and makes sense to other people about what we do. So doing something like creating, making art in my own way has been a very rebellious act to that voice that says you have to be serious. But somehow, at some point, I don't know when it happened, even my creative endeavors have become something serious, because I believed the idea that making it a career would make it more valuable, that not making it into a career would be a failure and kind of a proof that I'm not good enough, or that I didn't try hard enough, or that I'm not ambitious enough or brave enough. So somehow a story has been designed in my mind about how you should do art, how you should be an artist, how you should express your creativity. And even though I could tell others that it doesn't matter in their own artistic practice if they are professional or not, for myself, I would definitely create a hierarchy of what is better. And I want to be in the better. I want to be the best. I want to be in what's most what's going to bring me potentially the most praise. I want to be more visible. Like, all of those wants are rooted in a lack of self-worth, of intrinsic self-worth. It's like somehow my mind thinks that I'm not worthy and that I need to prove my worth, or that I need to gain my worth from the seriousness of my approach to my artistic work. artistic or not artistic, but whatever work I'm doing. But with the artistic part, there's another dimension, is that it's sacred. So it adds even more pressure actually, because when you do work that, you like, you can enjoy yourself doing what you do, but you don't take it as something sacred or something that should be done in a certain way because of the god of the arts. Well, there's maybe a tiny bit less pressure. But in my case, when I really look at myself honestly, there is this double pressure. It's like it has to be serious in order to be professional, in order to be credible. You say that? It's a word that we say in French, crédible. In order to be taken seriously, it has to be hard. It has to be painful. It has to be. There has to be some kind of pushing in there, and some kind of suffering in there. There has to be some kind of heroic journey in there. So there's this whole mythology around being an artist that I picked up. And there's this idea that it's sacred and that there are certain ways of doing art that are not legitimate, that are not respecting the god of the arts, basically. So, yes, there's a lot of pressure in there. And all of that pressure comes from ideas created by the mind, and maybe ideas that I picked up, of course, ideas that I picked up from others, from older generations, from books, from all the culture that and the environment that was around me. So there's a deconditioning that needs to happen in order for me to fully express myself in a free way instead of trying to fit into a mold. Because I've fallen into that trap many times, and I thought that being an artist would allow me to not fall into that trap anymore, but I still did. I still did. I compared myself to other artists. I tried to crack the code, understand what was their formula to make it sustainable, to make it profitable. And I think one of the hard things about this industry is that it's so opaque. We don't know actually what other artists are experiencing, how they're being supported financially, how they're envisioning the future, how they're making it sustainable. You actually don't know because no one really shares about it publicly. So, yeah, I've been doing this thing of comparing myself, of thinking that I was lesser than because I was independent and not, didn't have a record label. At some point, I sent my music to so many people, and then I just stopped trying because I thought, we're at a moment in the history of music where it's actually pointless to try and get a record label because before you get known, basically you have to get known and to get a lot of followers on social media before you even try to send your music out there to the professionals. They don't really support artists to grow anymore. They just support them to sustain their growth once they're big. So yeah, it's been a lot of ups and downs and like trying, giving up, trying, giving up, trying, giving up. And now it's been like 2 years that I've been basically constantly trying and burning myself out in the process. And I reached a point where a few months ago, and also recently, I've had moments when I was like, oh, I just want to give up. I just want to fully stop. And I don't think it's the truth. I don't think it's my truth that I want to give up on music or artistry at all. But I think my truth is I don't want to do it in this way. I want to find another way. And I just feel super insecure and vulnerable about this because I don't know what's the new way that I need to do, that I need to choose. And in the meantime, I'm in the void, the creative void. If you heard my last episode, if you listened to my last episode. And it's so scary and uncomfortable. And it's also a grieving process to say, okay, the way that I've been doing things is just not aligned with me. And I've been kind of created some disgust for myself and so much frustration and so much seriousness that I could not have fun anymore. Or the amount of fun is so little compared to the amount of stress and pressure and frustration. So there's something here that needs to change, and I don't know what exactly, but I know it needs to change. And I have this hint that my mind is one of the things that keep me in this loop of feeling like a victim and feeling like it's impossible. By telling me stories and by analyzing things in a very heady way instead of going back to what's here and now and enjoying myself in the present moment and feeling into my body, feeling into my emotions, just like I do when I create a piece of art, when I create a song, when I write. It's always coming from this place of deep surrender to what I feel. So why wouldn't it be the same in the process of understanding what's the right approach for me? It's still a creative process. So I want to trust, I'm going to finish on this, I want to trust the creative void for this issue, let's say, that I'm struggling with. I want to trust that the answer is going to emerge naturally as I surrender, as I let go of my usual strategies, as I stop doing all the time and I create some space for the unknown and for wonder and for calm and for emptiness. And if you're also struggling, I wish you to find also this emptiness for yourself. Yeah, I would love to know if you want to share in the comments. How is your mind? How is your intellect? And how is it helpful and how is it not helpful? And what do you want to do about it? Or how do you want to explore this question?